Decline in Violence. It is based on the thoughts of Steven Pinker. The decline of violence from biblical times to the present, and argues that though it may be seen illogical and even obscene, we are living in the most peaceful time in our species' existence. We have always been taught that this life in the world is a tough journey and whose path is laden with sharp stones and thorns. To fortify that thought, we are told stories of torture, war, murder, and whatnot. Media nowadays is providing food for these thoughts to grow. Even while we are nurturing our thoughts about the world being harsh, the likely truth is that we are living in the most peaceful community that world history has ever witnessed. It is not just about the decrease in the amount of crime that happens, but our thought process has also undergone a significant change. What we perceive as crime these days is very much different from what it used to be a couple of 100 years back. What is the reason for all this? One of the observations was that life used to be considered as cheap because of the widespread poverty, disease, and other hostile conditions in the past. Today, as technology and economic efficiency make life longer and more pleasant, one plus a higher value in life in general. It is worth looking into the period of time for which we have the best data. Look at the data on the battle deaths per 1,000 people in state-based conflicts. We see a significant decline since World War II. 6 trends of declining violence are: the pacification process. The transition from the anarchy of hunting, gathering, and horticultural society to the first agricultural, civilized, and cities and governments being around 5,000 years ago, which brought a reduction in the chronic raiding and feuding that characterized life in state of nature, and more or less five-fold decrease in the rate of violent deaths. The next one is the civilization process. Between the late mid-ages and 20th century, European countries saw a 10-folded to 50-folded decline in their rates of homicide. The idea of civilizing process to the sociologist Norbert Elias, who attributed this surprising decline in the consolidation of patchwork of feudal territories into large kingdoms with centralized authority and infrastructure on commerce. The third one is humanitarian revolution. The Pinker attributes this term and concept of historian Lan Hunt. This revolution unfolded on a scale of centuries and took off around the time of Age of Reason and the European Enlightenment in the 17th and 18th century. Historical, ancient, and parallel elsewhere in the world, it saw the first organized movement to abolish slavery, dueling, judicial torture, superstitious killing, sadistic punishment, and cruelty to animals, together with the first stringing of systematic pacification. Then comes the long peace, a term to the historian John Lewis Curtis. The long peace requires into the history of Cold War. The fourth major transition, Pinker says, took place after the end of World War II. During it, the great powers and the developed state in general have stopped waging war on each other. The fifth one is the new peace. Pinker calls this trend more tenuous, but since the end of the Cold War in 1989, organized conflict of all kinds, civil wars, genocides, repression by autocratic governments, and the terrorist attack have declined throughout the world. The rights revolution, the last one. The post-war period has seen a growing revulsion against aggression on smaller scales, including violence against ethnic minorities, women, children, homosexuals, and animals. They spin off from the concept of human rights, civil rights, women's rights, children's rights, gay rights, and animal rights were asserted in the catcase of movement from the late 1950s to the present day. Thanks for watching this video.